biz. This is the biz.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Jay Graham, and it's been a minute, but we're back like we never left, and I'm here with a special guest. This is Emer from Teriyaki Madness in Visalia, California. And yes, we're gonna sit here, we're gonna learn more about him as a business owner and dig into his mind and get some game from him. Pleasure having you, brother.
Nice to meet you, sir.
We're gonna cover more so about you. We want to figure out who you are. Our crowd is people who want to do better for themselves in life. So we're gonna, pick into your mind of a business owner, of a successful business owner also, you know what I'm saying? So we want to pick into your mind, see what it takes, and just learn more about you. That's so people we can relate, with like, hey, you might have had the same upbringing as somebody else, or people can relate to what you've been through and just go from there, all right?
Yeah.
Cool. So first of all, are you from Visalia?
I was born in Hanford. But I've been in Visalia for the last 8 years.
Hey, okay. What was your high school?
So the high school, I went to Selma.
Selma
High School. I finished high school over there, and then I went to Reedley College to test the waters over there and see if school was right for me or not. And then from there, I had motivations to continue school, and that's when I had the opportunity to move to Visalia.
You went to COS, because that's where I met you, right?
Yep.
Right. So I didn't want to jump the gun, but I had to throw that in, and that is where I met you at and stuff. Yeah. So
COS is groundbreaking for me because it kind of painted the future for me.
Right.
I was kind of questioning myself, like, where do I want to be? What's my next move? What's my next goal? And being a COS staff, they'd be very friendly and very cooperative and have a lot of expertise, somebody that's older than you has been through life. So what I had to learn is keep my ears open and, just learn from their people that been there and just see what works for you, because what works for you might not work for somebody else.
Right.
So my path was different, and they definitely played a big role in my success, definitely, 100%.
Did you always have this drive of entrepreneurship when you were young?
Yes. I won't say I took up the advantages of the opportunities that came up, but eventually, going into different worlds and it made me realize, how hard life is and how difficult it can be. But my goal is always build a structure first. Building without structure is no building. Right. So my goal was to build, a supportive system around me, family members, friends, self-confidence. I always had low self-confidence in myself,
Right.
But that was part of the journey, growing and learning. All these obstacles and stuff were there for a reason, for you to overcome them.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. So who inspired you early on? Like, was there like a family member that sparked the interest in this in business, or what is it? Is it a cultural thing? Is it a show that you've seen, a movie that you've seen? What sparked that?
You're getting closer. I mean, I've always been in the media. I always liked listening to music. I always liked to watch movies and stuff. So I was inspired by real life events. And one of my idols was like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He turned from somebody, he came from humble beginnings, and then he became a wrestler, and now became a big movie star. So whatever he put his mind to, he dedicated that, and he became the best of it. And that's just one of my idols right there. So I noticed in order to achieve something, to achieve greatness, basically, you have to focus 100% on your goal and, master your craft.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is definitely true. And so mastering your craft, what were some of the steps you did to help you in that?
Going to college obviously built the road, mentally, because I always struggled with math. And in order to be a successful businessman, you need to know some math.
That's right.
So when I went there, I got the help that I needed. They had tutors over there. They had all the help. So they had all the tools I needed. I just had to know how to use them.
Right.
And I feel like everybody has a gift or gifts, and you just have to realize how to use those gifts, and first of all, find out what your gift is.
Right.
And from there, you can utilize it to your best abilities.
Right. Early on, what would you say was was your gift?
For me, I've always been a people's person. You know, I connect with people. I like to hear people's stories. It inspires me. I don't see myself being lonely or anytime. You know, I traveled, countries here and there, and I just like to learn about cultures, about other people's mindsets, and, just to see the world in a different view.
Right. Now, off camera, you was telling me of some of the places you've been. Can you share that with the audience, man?
Yeah, so I've been to Dubai, Qatar, and one of my favorite countries is Djibouti. It's a small African country where, I went there and they didn't have any resources, but the people there were happy.
Wow.
They had smile on their faces. They're living day by day. I was like, wow. So like everywhere in this world, like you think you got things figured out until something else happens and you're like, wow, it's like this world's full of surprises.
Wow. That's crazy. It does make you think about that sometimes, the simple things, right?
Yes. And we always like to complain here and there about our lives and stuff. But when you look at other people's life, you're very blessed in so many ways.
Definitely. And that's crazy. Out of all the places you've been, that's because of what you took from that experience.
It was very enriched in, mindset. Like the people there were just like joyful and, they didn't take life that seriously. And that made me like very down to earth and just realize like not everything in life is materialistic.
Right.
Sometimes, you're blessed with a healthy body or, a good mindset or a good friend or, a good mother or father or brother or somebody that means a lot to you.
Definitely. So let's get into, Teriyaki Madness. This is a good interview for myself because I haven't interviewed nobody that has a franchise. And I've always been curious of franchising, what I mean? It's so, first of all, so you said you went to school when you went for business, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you were graduating, and was franchising always on your mind, or did you want to do something like of your own, or did you want to work for somebody, or what was your thoughts?
So my goal was always do something on my own and to succeed on my own or fail. And one important thing to take away is embrace failure. See, that's one thing I was really afraid of. What if I fail? What if I fail? And that always crossed my mind. So I feel like the first leap is the hardest because I'm going to fail. You're going to fail. That's the only thing I crossed. But once you cross it, and what if you succeed?
Yeah.
So it's like a mindset trick where you tell yourself, like, what if you do succeed? Use that negative impact to a positive where you like encourage yourself instead of, repeating yourself, telling you like, I'm not going to make it. And thankfully that hard step was there and I made the leap and it really helped me a lot and now build a lot of confidence and really growing from here.
So what was the moment that you chose a franchise restaurant though? Like from you doing your own, or what was it, like research, or what made you?
Yeah, so I did my research because I was in a whole different industry, in the oil industry. So I was focused on that. But, part of learning this generation is everything changes. So right now you can see all the cars are turning electric, right? So by a matter of time, there's probably not going to be no diesel or gas stations out there that are pumping out. So everything's electric. So I had to be motorized, and with my thinking is like, okay, what's next? And, there's one thing that doesn't disappear is necessities. So people got to eat regardless.
Right.
Our bellies are not going to turn AI or anything like that. So we're always going to be hungry. We're always going to be eat. And, I was thinking about the restaurant industry and everybody's telling me it's hard, it's tough. But like, what a business is not tough.
Man.
Every business comes with challenges. Either you embrace them or you fold, like you said. And, part of me thinking business is I'm a risk taker. I like taking risks. And part of taking risks is bigger rewards. So the higher the risk, the higher the reward. And that's what motivated me to get into the restaurant industry. Every day is a challenge. Every day is a challenge. So I use that as a learning experience, and I always grow from it. And the food industry is never ending. It's never going to end. You might go in some establishment where it's all robots and AI stuff, but the food is always going to be, there for people and stuff like that. So I noticed the food industry is where it's at. And I didn't have any much experience in opening my own restaurant. So partnering up with a franchise really helped me grow. They have all the expertise. They have, I believe it's 5 years they've been in business. So they have 5 years expertise that they can help me grow and themselves. So it's all team effort at the end of the day. We have a big team behind the franchise and they help me, I help them. We grow as a team.
Oh, wow. That's great. And a big thing I took away from that, what you just said, is like pivoting from, a lot of times we have something that we, intentionally went in for, and then for you to have the courage to be like, you know what, because that's all we know oil, but then you're like, you know what, no, this is the shift I got to do, right? And stepping into that's very cool.
Yeah.
And so with the franchise, like, how would you even go about, like, is there a number you call? Like, how did you even, like, where did you even start with that? Like,
So
did you go through different different other companies and was digging and researched them, or like, what was the starting point?
So exactly, that's what I did. So basically, I got to narrow down the industry I want to be in. So the first choice was food, restaurant.
Right.
So that was the first choice. So secondly, do some research. What restaurants are declining, what restaurants are inclining. So you start there, and then what made sense 10 years ago might not make sense today. So I try to live like looking in the future. I was like, okay, I started doing some research about franchises. I hit up McDonald's. They're more of a real estate than a franchise. They're focused on a different aspect. So I noticed that in business, everybody has a different mindset and doing things. And it might not be wrong or right on every aspect, but everybody has their own way of doing things. And there might be 5 good ways to do one result.
Right.
So my goal living in Visalia, and I consider myself, part of Visalia's community right now, probably closing 10 years now. And I was like, I have a family, so I drive around like, what's good over here? We have fast food restaurants popping everywhere, and they're all fast food. And I was like, I noticed about people because I go to the gym, and I noticed by people, they're more aware about what they're putting in their bodies now.
Yeah.
And, I felt like going healthy is the way. So I was like, what are we missing in Visalia? Like, what is there that's not there? And then I noticed that Japanese culture's not encouraged a lot. So we're like, we have American food, we have Mexican food, we have all types of sorts of foods, and we're missing this. So we're like, okay, how about if there's a franchise that supports my idea where it's a healthy option of Japanese food?
Right.
And that's when I did some research, and Teriyaki Madness was on top of the list.
Yeah.
And they're only growing right now. They're on the 185 locations, and they're only like 4 or 5 years old. So it's a new idea. It's a new franchise. It's something fresh, and I feel like everybody in the community wants something fresh here and there.
Yes.
Just get out of your routine.
Yeah, and that's definitely a big problem for me, because I have a certain diet that I eat, and there isn't many places to choose, especially quick food. There's none quick food except yours. Now that when I went there and you had that bowl, and I was like, oh, see, I can eat here.
Yeah.
But there isn't. There's few restaurants, and then I don't eat no quick food except teriyaki bowl, and that's about it. You know what I mean? So it's definitely was needed, man. Thank you. Thank you. And so in the, back to the franchise world, because I do want to learn a little bit more about that, like so once you established what you want, because I know it could be pricey, right?
Uh-huh.
And so is it like, this is, for somebody like just that wants to learn about this, what's the next step? Do you go, did you just have the money saved, or did you get a loan, or, what I'm saying? How does that work? Hey, real quick, guys, we want to give a shout out to our sponsorship, Teriyaki Madness. They're serving up Japanese cuisine right here in Tulare County. You can find them at 3551 South Mooney Boulevard. And for extra convenience, you can download the app for order pickups. How easy is that? Now back to our show.
So I'm first generation college student. So, my goal is always to be self-motivated. And, reputation makes a big deal
Right.
in your journey. So, people hear about you, either it's good or bad. So, I always had a good reputation with people, and when it came down to money, all I needed is a money partner and to share the same ideas and the same values. So
Right.
I managed to know a couple of people, and once the opportunity presented itself, and I was just all in.
Nice.
And I feel like if you want to succeed, you have to be all in.
Right.
You can't put one foot in the door and expect to get 100% of your results.
Yeah. Yeah. So partnering is very important.
Partnering, yes, if you don't have the financial
Relationships.
abilities.
Yeah.
Yes, but everybody doesn't have the same circumstances as everybody else. So, knowing people really helps you.
Definitely.
Building connections with people, keeping a positive connections with, friends, family, and get to meet new people down the
Yeah.
road.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's huge, especially nowadays where partnering isn't so much pushed or connections. Everybody's kind of like, I could do it myself. It shows you right there that you got to have those connections, what I mean? Even in business, especially, right? Connections is key.
Yeah. So knowing yourself is better than knowing other people, and to know what you're capable of. So me realizing what I can, what I can't do, and admitting your flaws, and you're not going to be good at everything.
Right.
So me just being real to myself and asking myself some questions like, you can't do it all.
Right.
You're going to need help down the road. And that's why you build a strong team. Your team members should be having the same values, have the same, chains of thought and the same motivation, same goals. That's what makes a team. There's no I in team.
That's right.
You're going to have to create a team, and that's how any sports happens. The stronger the team is, the more championships they win.
That's right. I'm not going to say your age on the microphone, but being such a young man, first of all, do they kind of give you the stats of other franchise owners? Is that a roundabout age when people get in, or do they even discuss any of that, or not really?
I get a lot of talk about how young I am and,
Yeah.
in the game and stuff, but I don't think it has to do with nothing with age.
Right.
I think age is just a number. And one thing I learned going back to college is age does not matter. I was in class with people like double my age, the seniors. They were sitting next to me, and that gave me motivation. It's like, wow, you're just putting a limit on yourself, a cap where there shouldn't be. Sky should be the limit.
Right.
You should not tell yourself like, oh, I'm this old. You're this young and you can still do it. You're capable of doing it. It's just you're putting a cap on yourself where you can't. But in reality, you can if you put your head to it and you do the right calculations and stuff, and you can get to where you want to be.
Yeah, that's right. And so, but what keeps you going? Like, cause that, a lot of times, I don't want to say all, because I don't want to make it seem like that's regular, because it's not regular. It shouldn't be regular. But a lot of people I grew up with or around me or whatever at that age were still kind of like not knowing where to go, and for like what keeps you focused when times get tough?
Setting goals. Setting daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals. So that's what makes me stay on track. So sometimes I'll wake up and I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? And then I'll go back to my journal. And that's one of my English professors. I mean, like, have a journal, talk about your past, talk about your future goals. And that what makes you like remember, because us as human, we always tend to forget things. You get distracted a lot,
100%.
And, just separating your worlds, your professional life from your family life, from your personal life, and from your friendships. If you could separate all those aspects, it kind of gives you a clear vision of what you want to do in life and gives you that balance.
Mm-hmm. I would say that's a success, right? Mm-hmm. What do you view as success for your life?
I mean, it is a success, but you can't go to a point where you're like, well, I made it. For me, that point does not exist.
Yeah.
I feel like, life is like the ocean. It's always going to be huge. You don't know how far it gets. It's going to be unlimited. And that's why I want to keep my ambitions unlimited.
Right.
Unlimited opportunities, unlimited thoughts, because the only person that can limit yourself is yourself.
That's right.
So I don't come to a point where I'm like, oh, I made it or this. You know, we're only growing and we're only getting bigger and, you know, diverse sometimes. You know, you can always do something diverse and, you know, probably turn your hobby into a career.
That's right. That's right. It don't stop. And, you know, I think that's where we have this, some people might have a retirement mentality, and it's like you should never stop growing. I think once you stop growing, you start dying, right? Like it's you got to keep the mind going, keep the body active, have some kind of goal or something, you know, to keep going. Did you what? You ever seen that documentary, The Blue Zones? I think it was on Netflix.
No, I never got the chance to.
It's pretty good, man. They talk about like so the blue zones is like the areas where they live the oldest in the world, right? And so the guy does a documentary where he goes around the world to see what their lifestyle is, to, you know, why they're living longer than other places. So he went all around the world, man, and common things, movement, you know what I'm saying, community. You know, that sense of being needed, just regular things that we all know. Once we take away all this stuff and this stuff, we know these things because it's natural instinct, right? But that's what kept them going. And exercise, of course, you know what I mean?
I mean, there's a lot of aspects that we can look at it. You know, you got your physical aspect, your mental, your spiritual, your social, and that all plays a role in where having basically a balanced, healthy life. And, you know, what I learned is not to put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your eggs, you know. Some things might work, some things aren't. It brings me back to my first point, which is failure.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people think it's like it's going to be easy or it's going to be guaranteed. Nothing in life is guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, you just get, like growing a tree, you get what you invest in something. So the more time you invest in something, the more results you're going to be.
Right.
And it's like your tree, you water every day, you make sure you're doing everything by the book, and that's phase one right there.
That's right. In the community, I know, you know, the times we talked or whatever, you're real big on community. Can you share some of the stuff that you've been a part of in the community?
Yeah, well, like a community is like a family. You give and take. You know, there's not a place where you can take only or give only. You know, there's always give and take in every relationship. And being part of community is I get to provide, you know, high quality service to people. And I like to see families walk in with a smile and, you know, having a good time. And that reflects on my happiness. That makes me happy end of the day. And, you know, I want to give back to communities like this. And this community, I lived here for a reason because I always felt like I belonged here. I felt like everybody's welcomed here. And I feel like you should be where you fit in. And I feel like this is my city right here. I love it. And, you know, I go on vacations here and there, but eventually this is my home.
All right, guys, let's take a break. Let's talk about our second sponsorship, NCVM Photo Booth Fund, which is actually my business. We handle photo booths all across Tulare County, whether it's birthday parties, business or corporate events, or just celebrating a milestone. If you're looking for dependability, excellence, or just looking to have a good time, we got you covered. We have photo booths, 360 photo booth spinners. If you need videography, photography, we have you covered too. So now let's get back to the show. You're so giving, man. My first time, my first encounter with you, you fed me. I'm like, man, that's a good guy right there, you know? And so, you know, I hate that sense about you. And then you was asking about certain people, like, yeah, I took some, I'm like, wow, like you really have that giving heart. And I'm real sensitive to that when I meet people like that, because I had great mentors in my life that were real givers, you know? And so I recognize that when I see that on somebody, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good person right there, you know? Can you just like tell me, this is for the audience too, man, the importance of being a part of your community when you're doing business. Why is that so important?
It's so important because we have a younger generation growing up, and you know, it's like small children. They look at their parents and they imitate what they're doing.
Right.
And we're kind of like leaders at this point. You know, everybody's holding a position in this community. You know, everybody's doing something productive, and all these young generation are looking up to other people, their audience, and seeing what they can do to grow as a community. And you know, our job as a community is to protect it and make it grow and make it a happy place where people can live. And I feel like Visalia is the place right now where it's at, you know.
What kind of legacy would you say you want to leave, like when it's all said and done here in the 559? You said you're going to be here in the 559. What kind of legacy do you want to be remembered as?
I want to be remembered as being myself, genuinely.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be myself, and being myself is who I am today.
Right.
You know, and parting is giving back and just having a smile on people's faces, and that really makes my day and makes me feel like I'm part of the community. And you know, part of the community is like, you want to be involved, you want to feel important, you want to feel needed. And us, by helping out each other, that's what we create in other people's hearts and minds. You know, we help out each other when somebody needs help, you know, financial help, support, emotional help. There's all types of support. We can help each other, you know, grow as a community and help out each other. And, you know, this world is already tough as it is. And, you know, building stronger communities has brighter futures.
Yeah. Now I want to get into the grit of things, like what it takes to be a person like yourself. You know what I mean? What do you feel like is one of the things that you had to unlearn from your upbringing in order to get you here?
Is stay away from your comfort zone. You know, everybody has that comfort zone where either you're playing video games, or, you know, you like to stay on the couch all day, take naps, and you're always in that comfort zone. Everybody has it. And, you know, one thing I learned is about being great is staying out of that comfort zone. Like, I do things that don't make me comfortable sometimes in order to grow, and just keeping the mindset is this is just a stepping stone. And once you're there, you're like, wow, all that effort went to somewhere. And that's what it is. Getting out of my comfort zone was hard at first because, you know, we're nature of habit. You know, we always have a habit of doing things, and breaking the habit is one of the obstacles that I had. You know, I had to retrain my brain, retrain myself, and retrain my chain thoughts. And once I managed to do that, it kind of like opened a lot of doors, and then I have more choices and more options.
You're hitting a lot of people with that, man. Get out of them comfort zones, man. Get out there and learn something, do something, right? Bump your head, right?
Stay productive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, so if everything was taken away, your franchise, all your money, or, you know, you got a lot of, no, play.
Go ahead.
But if everything was taken away, what skill would you have to be able to get back on the feet? What would you say you could take away and be like, hey, this right here alone, I can make all this back, no question?
So I've been there. I've been there. That's how I grew this time, because I've been to square one where I did my first project, and it did well, but it wasn't up to my ambitions. And that's when I went, you know, rock bottom. And then from there, you kind of calculate things. You're like, what did you do wrong? And one thing I had to evaluate is I always try to study other people, but I started studying myself. I was like, why do I think like this? Right. Why do I do this like this? Or I started getting into my psychology and my self-psychology, like what makes me want to do things like these, and how can I change this habit into this habit, and how I can change this? How do I do this? Once I understood myself better, I got better. And that was one thing I was missing. I was looking outwards, not looking inwards.
Yeah. Okay, so now that you said that, what books have you been reading, brother? Give me 3 books, because that sounds like my talk right there, man.
All this information I'm sharing is from previous professors, and the books I have is the knowledge they passed on to me, to my mind, and I never forgot that.
Wow.
And one English teacher, if I remember her name, is Miss Thurber. She's from Reed College, and she gave me, I think we were doing an essay about 2 sets of mindsets, a set mindset and a growth mindset. So some people have set mindsets. We're like, well, my grandfather did this, my father did this, I'm going to imitate him and do this way. And that's the way things should be done. Versus a growth mindset where you're constantly throwing yourself out there and embracing things and learning, making mistakes. Parting of growing is making mistakes.
Right.
And, you know, not doing the same mistake twice. You know, you learn from your mistakes and you grow. And that's what made me, you know, having that mindset where I always want to wake up and grow and do stuff and be productive. And, you know, me having a great team right now next to me, we're building a team. We're building another location in Fresno, right off Herndon and 99 in the Paseo market. And that's another journey I'm going to attend. So I have to create a new team over there and a new atmosphere. So I have to get into that city of Fresno and get to know the society over there and environment.
Right.
That's another challenge I'm going to head to.
Right.
So, and I know it's not going to be easy, but nobody said it's going to be easy.
Wow.
And that's what I'm headed to right now. So I'm looking forward for that challenge. And I want to build another one over there and another one over there. And so hopefully in each city, I'll be able to grow.
Yeah. So with all the things that you're doing, managing, yourself, the family and everything, what do you have like rituals or that you do to stay in order, or is it kind of just like whenever I do is what I do?
I feel like this is common in between every background, every religion, and every society, is being a good person as much as possible. Nobody's perfect. Learning from your mistakes and trying to help out others, And I feel like there's always something out there that's greater than us, that's watching and observing and testing us.
Right.
And I feel like we're all in a test at the end of the day. And either, you can learn and grow and help each other out, and eventually when you're down, that person can help you.
Right. But are you a strict schedule guy, or are you just a wing it, like what comes,
I like to calculate things, but at the same time, I learned about overthinking, and I don't like to overthink things either. So sometimes I used to be an overthinker. I'm always overthinking things like, oh, what about this? But you just like come to conclusions and you go by it.
Nice.
Move forward.
Yeah. To the young Emer out there, trying to figure his way out, figure his way in life, and young kid feels like, oh well, AI is going to take over everything, there's no point in me doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you give that young person dealing in the climate that we're in right now? What kind of advice would you give him?
I mean,
or her?
The internet, the technology, AI, these are all tools for us to use.
Right.
And like for instance, you say this is created. Well, it's not going to stop you from your ambitions. You use it as a tool for your adventure. For me, I look at business as an adventure. It's, you never know where it's going to happen. You're out there in the wild, and you're going to try to avoid this, do this, but sometimes you plan for things that doesn't go your way.
Right.
And having a plan B, having a plan C, just calculate things and always plan for the worst and plan for the best. And just creating opportunities out there where you always have other doors to open. This one closes, you have other opportunity to open, so you never can stop. You never stop. And that's you can't go to a place where like, well, this is it. No, you keep on going and look for a solution, because us humans, we're capable of doing that.
That's good.
We're capable of finding solutions, and even in your darkest days, you can still find the light.
Yeah. And it's kind of like that's, in business, is finding solutions for problems, right? And that's just a great thing to have in general as a grown up, is to figure out solutions. You'll always be in need if you're a problem solver, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like everybody has the ability. One thing I used to do is dwell on the problem instead of focusing all your energy on the solutions. So that's one thing I learned about myself. So I was like, oh, we have a problem, and you like to dwell on it, you sleep on it and stuff. Right. But what if you already had the problem, you identify what the problem is, and then from there, 80% of your effort should go towards the solution. It's like, okay, now the problem is there, is how do we solve it? That's one thing about my math tutor here at COS, Mr. David. He helped me a lot with problem math. And I look at life as math solutions,
Wow.
There's all these math solutions, and there's like 2-3 ways to solve one answer, one question. And there's different formulas, different there, but the result was one. So that shows me there's a lot of solutions for problems. You just got to find the right one.
That's game right there, man. That's good right there. I like that. Yeah. Okay, so in 10 years, man, who's Emer in 10 years? What is Emer doing? What's going on?
My plan is to retire like everybody else. But when I mean by retire is not doing the thing that you love. Because what I do right now is things that I love. I like to take adventures. I like to take risks. So I'm just going to take them in smaller steps.
Right.
I'm still going to be active, doing things, hopefully. And, part of it is just like doing it in different ways, you know, not bigger chunks, because as you get older, you know, you kind of like your energy is different, everything's different. So I try to like to do stuff based on my abilities at that time. So I don't see myself retiring, going to the sunset, but just doing what I love in smaller steps.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, man. Well, that was a great conversation, man. And yeah, I learned a lot just about perseverance, keep pushing, mindset. I'm real big on that too, man. So to hear, I love being around others that understand that, you know, don't dwell on the problem, right? It's about the solution.
Yep.
And how much have we unconsciously practiced that in life? You know I did when I was younger, you know, was always in the victim mentality, and that only contributes to the problem versus, okay, this is what it is. Let's figure this out. You know what I mean? And you'll be surprised of what you can create and what can, you know what I'm saying? And once you take on that mindset, man. So that's really good game, man. And I appreciate your time. And I hope you guys learned something out there. And yeah, man, we appreciate you, man, stopping by with us and putting the youth on and putting the grown-ups too, man, just inspiring the community. And that's what we're here for, is to inspire and innovate and motivate the community. And that's so we, you know, there's enough for all of us, man.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for bringing me by and giving me this platform. It really means a lot. And, you know, I like to support local. I like to support local. And I feel like, you know, if we support local, we'll be okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's what I really admire. Thank you.
That's right. No doubt, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate the food too, man. We're gonna be up out of here because I'm about to go eat this food. But yeah, y'all stay inspired, motivated, and let's be innovative, y'all.
Yes.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Peace.
We have just a quick reminder. We're on 3551 South Mooney Boulevard on Mooney and Caldwell. We're at the Sequoia Mall next to Sprouts and Raising Cane's. We have a good opportunity, variety of gluten-free items, vegetarian items, and it's a fresh Japanese cuisine coming to the city of Visalia.
Yes, and I'm a vegetarian, well, the vegan, whatever, healthy eater, and yes, I vouch for it, man. It's definitely good food there, fresh. And you had edamames, man. I love it. On the go like that, I was like,
it's good for your cholesterol.
That's right, man. And I love it, man. But I appreciate you, man.
God bless you.
Yes, you guys go check them out. Great food. And yeah, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you, guys.
All right, brother. Peace.